There is a specific feeling that hits you the moment your kitchen is clean. Not just wiped down, clean. The counters bare, the sink empty, the air carrying the faint scent of something good. You stand in the doorway and for a brief second, everything feels manageable, peaceful, even. Then your eyes drift to the stove, and that feeling evaporates. Because no matter how hard you work on the rest of that kitchen, those burner grates and caps tell a different story. A dark one. Layers of carbonized grease, ash black and almost shellacked onto the metal, crusted around every edge and ridge. It is not just an eyesore, it is a weight. A small daily reminder that you haven't quite won, and the worst part, you have tried. You scrubbed until your wrist ached. You bought the sprays that cost $9 and smelled like industrial chemicals, and still left you staring at the same dark crust an hour later. My name is Mason, and what I'm about to share with you took me years of cleaning professionally to fully understand. The reason nothing has worked isn't a failure of effort, it is a failure of method. And once you understand what is actually happening on the surface of your burner, at the molecular level, the solution becomes obvious. 2 ingredients, $2 total, 7 minutes of active work, and you will walk away with burners that look the way they did when that stove was brand new. Let's get into it. Expert briefing. Why baked-on grease defies scrubbing before phase number 1 begins. I want to give you 60 seconds of context that will change how you clean for the rest of your life. Every time you cook, microscopic droplets of fat, oil, and cooking liquid become airborne and land on your burner caps and grates. The first time this happens, they sit lightly on the surface. But then the heat cycles, the burner ignites, reaches temperature, shuts off, cools down over and over. Each cycle bakes those droplets deeper, polymerizing the fat molecules into long, cross-linked chains of carbonized residue. This is the same chemical process used to season cast iron cookware, except on your grates. It is completely uncontrolled and accumulates over months or years. The result is a layer of material that is not simply dirty. It has chemically fused to the metal surface. Scrubbing attacks it physically, but physical force alone cannot break a chemical bond. You can scrub for 20 minutes and remove perhaps 30% of the visible material, but the bonded carbon layer underneath will remain, and the visible layer will grow back within a week, because there is always a foundation for new buildup to grip. This is why the answer is chemistry, not effort. Specifically, 2 substances that together create a reaction powerful enough to dissolve those bonds from underneath: white distilled vinegar and baking soda. Here is the part most people get wrong. These 2 ingredients are often used simultaneously, as if the fizzing itself is the cleaning agent. It is not. The fizzing is a byproduct of a neutralization reaction, acetic acid meeting sodium bicarbonate. Impressive to watch, but the real work happens in stages. First the acid penetrates, then the base lifts. Sequence matters. And that is exactly the sequence we are going to follow. One more pro-level note before we begin: know your burner material. Most modern gas stove grates are either coated cast iron or enamel-coated steel. Both respond beautifully to this method. If you have uncoated raw cast iron grates, limit their soak time and dry them immediately and thoroughly afterward to prevent surface rust. If you are unsure, check the underside of your grate. Raw cast iron will feel rough and matte gray. Coated versions will have a smooth, slightly shiny finish even when dirty. Phase number 1. The removal and the reveal start with everything completely cool. If you cooked recently, wait. Applying a cleaning solution to warm metal causes it to evaporate far too quickly. The acid never gets enough contact time to do its work, and you lose most of your results before the process even begins. This is what professionals call the soak time-to-evaporation ratio. The longer the cleaning solution stays in wet contact with the surface, the deeper it penetrates. Heat is the enemy of that ratio. With the burners confirmed cool, lift your grates straight up and off the stove. Set them on a folded dry towel on your counter. The towel protects both your counter and your grates from impact chips. Next, locate your burner caps. These are the small, flat, round pieces that sit directly on top of the burner head and distribute the gas flame evenly. Lift each one off. If any feel stuck, do not force them. Grip the cap with a dry cloth and twist gently while pulling upward. The grime binding the base will release with just a little rotational pressure. Now, before you reach for a single cleaning product, do this one thing that almost nobody does: take a dry paper towel and do one slow, firm wipe across every surface of the grates and caps. You are not cleaning yet. You are removing loose, dry debris, crumbs, ash flakes, detached carbon particles. This step ensures that when your cleaning solution makes contact with the surface, it is hitting the bonded grime directly, not wasting its acidity on dry material floating on top. Set all pieces out on your towel and take a good look at what you are working with. The ports, those small holes or channels on the burner head itself, deserve a separate look. If any appear blocked or partially filled with dark buildup, do not ignore them. A clogged port means uneven gas flow, which means uneven flame color and reduced cooking efficiency. Set aside a straight pin, thin sewing needle, or a small gauge piece of wire to address those after the soak. Never use a wooden toothpick for this. The wood can snap off inside the port and create a permanent blockage. The pin or needle is a 30-second job that most people skip and then wonder why one side of their burner runs orange instead of blue. Phase number 2, the acid immersion. This is the engine of the entire process. Take a large zip seal bag, gallon-sized works best, and place your burner caps inside. Pour in enough plain white distilled vinegar to fully submerge every surface. You want complete coverage. Every inch of that grime needs to be in contact with the acetic acid. Seal the bag, turn it gently to confirm coverage, and lay it flat on the counter. For the grates, which are too large for a bag, use a shallow plastic bin or your kitchen sink with the drain stopped. Pour vinegar across the grates until all contact surfaces are wet. If you don't have enough vinegar to submerge them entirely, saturate several sheets of paper towel in vinegar and lay them directly against the grate surfaces like a compress. This is a professional trick for conserving products while maintaining full contact. The paper towel acts as a wick, holding the acid against the surface continuously. Now set a timer for 5 minutes and walk away. That is the active portion of your 7-minute window, but the work happening inside that bag requires no effort from you at all. Here is what is occurring. The acetic acid in the vinegar is hydrophilic, meaning it seeks out and penetrates moisture-retaining surfaces. The carbonized grease layer, despite appearing rock-hard, has microscopic pores from years of thermal expansion and contraction. The acid works into those pores and begins breaking the ester bonds that hold the polymerized fat to the metal surface. It is slow compared to a commercial degreaser, but it is thorough, and it does not damage enamel coatings or leave toxic residue. After 5 minutes, you will see the vinegar has already shifted color, slightly darker, with floating particles. That material is no longer attached to your burner. It is suspended in solution. The bond has been broken. Phase number 3. The base activation. Remove the caps from the bag and place them on your towel. Do not rinse them. This is essential. You want the surface to remain saturated with vinegar because the next step depends on that residual acid still being present on the metal. Take your baking soda, the same box already in your pantry, and sprinkle a generous, even layer across every surface of the caps and grates. Cover them completely. Watch what happens in the next 5 seconds. The baking soda hits the acid-soaked surface and immediately begins to fizz. This carbon dioxide reaction is doing physical work. The tiny gas bubbles are forming underneath the loosened grime layer, mechanically lifting it away from the surface, the way water freezing in a crack expands and splits rock. The chemistry has already broken the bond. The reaction is now ejecting the debris. Let this sit for 2 full minutes. 2 minutes is all it needs. You do not need to wait longer. Past this point, the reaction has completed and you are simply waiting for the fizzing to slow. Now take a damp cloth, soft, not abrasive, and make one slow, deliberate pass across a section of the grate or cap. Do not press hard, do not scrub. Use the weight of your hand only. Look at what comes up on the cloth. Dark, dissolved grime lifting cleanly with minimal pressure. Continue wiping with fresh sections of cloth until the surface clears. For any stubborn spots that remain, typically older, thicker deposits at the very base of the grate legs or around the cap edges, reapply a pinch of baking soda directly and wait another 30 seconds before wiping. Rinse each piece thoroughly under warm running water, then dry completely with a clean, dry towel. This drying step is not optional, especially for cast iron components. Residual moisture left in contact with bare metal will begin surface oxidation within hours. If you want to see just how clean they actually are, hold a grate up to a window with natural light coming through. The metal will catch the light differently when it is clean, a flat, consistent reflection instead of that dull, absorbed darkness that carbon buildup creates. Component number 4. The ports and the flame test. While your burner pieces are drying, spend 90 seconds on the burner head itself, the fixed part that remains on the stove. Take your straight pin or needle and gently insert it into each burner port. You are not drilling. You are moving in a single small circular motion to dislodge any carbonized material sitting in the opening. The port should feel open and clear, no resistance. Work around every port opening in sequence. Blow gently across the burner head afterward to clear any loosened debris. Wipe the burner head itself with a vinegar-dampened cloth. Do not use a soaking application here. You do not want liquid entering the gas tube. A damp wipe is sufficient to clean the external surface. Once your grates and caps are dry, completely dry, replace them in their correct positions. This matters more than people realize. Each burner cap is sized specifically for its burner head. Placing a small cap on a large burner head or misaligning the cap so it sits slightly off-center will produce an uneven or flickering flame. Press each cap down gently and confirm it sits flush with no side-to-side movement. Turn on one burner at low flame. Watch the color. A clean, properly seated, properly ported burner produces a steady, uniform blue flame with no yellow or orange tips. Yellow flame is the visual confirmation of either incomplete combustion or residual moisture. If you see it, let the burner run for 30 seconds and it will clear as the surface dries completely. If yellow persists after a minute, recheck that your cap is properly seated and centered. That blue flame is your confirmation that the entire system is working correctly. Phase number 5. The 7-minute maintenance system that keeps them there. You now have clean burners. The goal from this point is to make sure the deep clean is something you do once every 4 to 6 weeks, not every week. The reason most people end up with heavily carbonized burners in the first place is not one catastrophic cooking event. It is the slow accumulation of cooking sessions where fresh grease was never addressed. Fresh grease, the kind deposited within the last 24 hours, has not yet polymerized. It sits loosely on the surface and can be dissolved with nothing more than a cloth dampened with undiluted white vinegar. 30 seconds. Every time you cook something involving oil or heavy sauces, a 30-second wipe of the burner caps after they cool prevents that next layer from bonding. Once a month, do the full soak and activation treatment described above. The entire active process, from removing the grates to wiping clean and rinsing, takes 7 minutes when the grime is recent rather than years old. You will not be staring at carbonized buildup again because you will never give it the chance to form that permanent bond. There is one additional step that almost no one talks about, and it is worth every second. After your monthly clean, while the caps are still slightly damp, press your fingertip into any remaining rough texture. If a surface feels rough in a specific spot, that is microscopic residue the wipe pass didn't fully remove. A second pinch of baking soda applied dry, left for 60 seconds, then wiped again will clear it completely. The goal is a surface that feels uniformly smooth under your fingertip. That is how you confirm you have reached the actual metal. Look at what just happened. 2 ingredients from your pantry, $2, 7 minutes of actual attention. And the result is not just clean burners. It is a stove that looks like it belongs in a kitchen you are proud of. That feeling from the beginning of this video, standing in the doorway of a kitchen that feels right. Your stove can be part of that now. If this method worked for you, the single best thing you can do is hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it puts this in front of someone else who has been fighting the same battle. And if you want this level of knowledge for every corner of your kitchen, subscribe to this channel. Every week, the same principle: no expensive products, no wasted effort. Just the method that actually works, explained the way it should have been explained a long time ago. Your kitchen deserves this, so do you.